I'm Leo Grillo, founder of Dedication and Everlasting Love to Animals, or D.E.L.T.A Rescue. We rescue dogs and cats abandoned in the wilderness. We have over 1,500 dogs and cats at our 94-acre mountaintop super shelter.
So you want to find a home for your pet? Well, there are a few ways you could do that. You can take them to the pound, or you can call a so-called humane organization. Those are not good ideas. You can run an ad in the newspaper. That works. But what if someone calls you, claims to be able to find a home for your pet? They're probably not legitimate. It's just not that easy to find a good home for your pet. What kinds of people answer ads like yours? Well, there are some good people, but there are also an awful lot of bad ones. There are phony rescue organizations and individuals seeking donations to find a home for your pet. They pretend to be an answer to all your problems, then they kill your pet. There are also brokers from research labs. They stand to make a fortune if they can trick you. They will make a fortune, and your pet will suffer unbearable agony for the rest of his short life. If you have to give your pet away, and we hope you never do, or if you want to rescue an animal from the pound, we're going to show you a safer way to do it. After all, how could you know for sure if you've placed your pet in a good home? I mean, wouldn't you be devastated if he ended up on an operating table? Do you know what happens there? Your pet could have his eyes burned by cosmetics, or could be forced to swallow poison, or undergo painful surgeries. There's a lot of money at stake, enough for someone to lie to you just to get your pet. One person who can answer your ad is a lab animal wholesaler. He can get as much as $60 for your animal from a licensed dealer. And he can round up 10 pets like yours every day. He'll do or say absolutely anything to get your animal away from you. He'll lie, he'll cheat, you know, he'll even steal your pet. And then your friend will be sent to a torture chamber, just for money. Now you know why we're appealing to you. Placing a pet is a hard thing to do, but if you follow our step-by-step program, you have a good chance of success. Because when you least suspect it, things can go wrong. Michelle Zellman's dog, Sasha, went to a research lab, but the dog was rescued in a raid before she could be killed.
My husband went and picked her up from the shelter and took her home. She was very thin. They said that she was in a cage for probably 6 weeks. She was lucky that they didn't remove her vocal cords, because a lot of the dogs, from their barking, they remove the vocal cords, but because she was pretty mellow, she must have not barked. But her eyes were pretty glassy and cloudy, and she had a lot of shot marks in her, and a little dazed, but I think happy to be home.
After Gail Sovia gave her dog Sparky to someone she trusted, she never saw her again.
I don't feel very good about that at all, because I was sincerely planning to give her to a good home, not to somebody who came and lied and, you know, made us feel good about something, and I shared it with my children at the time, and we were just taken advantage of. But East Valley Animal Shelter said, no, you gave your animal away. You have no recourse. You're the one who gave the animal away. I said, yes, but under false pretenses, I gave my dog away. I blame myself somewhat, because we didn't have to get rid of the dog, you know, and you look back on it and thought that we had done the right thing, and then here to find out we did not do the right thing. So, you know, I blamed myself for doing it.
The people you just saw were cheated out of their pets. They're good, smart people who did what most of us would do, and yet they were still taken in. So what should you do? The correct way to find prospective new homes is by advertising. But before you pick up the phone and call the newspaper, you have a few things to do. Make sure your pet has these, his shots. Get to a vet and get a clean bill of health. My new family doesn't want to fall in love with a new pet just to watch him die of some common preventable disease. And get your pet dewormed and defleed. Hey, you want to come with me? With me? Oh, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Are you breaking up a litter of puppies or kittens before they're 8 weeks old? You know, if you do that, you cause them severe emotional and physical problems, so please don't. Is your adult animal spayed or neutered? Most of your pet's children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren will just end up in the pound. Did you know that only 5% of all the animals in the pound are eventually adopted? The other 95%, that's 19 out of 20, are killed. Nationally, over 35,000 of these warm, loving little creatures, just like this one, are murdered every day. Don't leave birth control up to the new family. You do it. You can see why. You want to go back? Okay. There you go.
Someone who tries to prevent the nightmare created by the exploding pet population is Earl Holliman. He's president of Actors and Others for Animals, an animal organization that promotes spaying and neutering for pets.
One of the things that's important also to stress is the health side of it. People will say, well, is it harmful to the animal to spay it or to neuter it? As a matter of fact, it's not only not harmful to the animal, but it protects it against, if you spay a female before she comes into her first heat, the chances of her developing uterine cancer, which is so prevalent in older dogs, is almost nil. With a male dog, it's a similar situation. If he's neutered, he'll certainly never develop cancer of the testes. You know? It becomes a much healthier dog. Some people say, well, what about they gain weight, they get fat, they get lethargic? They only get lethargic if they're not exercised. They only gain weight, they get fat if they're overfed.
Okay, before you call the newspaper, we have one more little thing to do. We have to write a really catchy ad. Adorable, tabby mixed kittens. Love soft music and gentle petting. Will purr themselves to sleep on your shoulder. Call 555-9637 if you need a friend. You can probably think of a much better one than me. Give it a try. Oh, and I don't advertise a price. It's much more important at this point to get a lot of calls. Okay, I think we're ready to phone this into the newspaper.
But while you're looking up the phone number and composing your ad, let me ask you this. Are you thinking this is a little too much trouble? You don't have the time? You want to take your pet to the pound and let them look after him? You already know most pound animals are killed because there are just too many to adopt out. But do you know that many pounds sell animals to research labs? Do you want that to happen to your pet? Someone who would never consider taking an animal to the pound is George Putnam. Talk show host and newsman for over 55 years. He's a very busy person, just like you. Yet he has more than 22 dogs and numerous cats, burros, and other creatures. There's something even more amazing about George Putnam. Not only does he have all these pets, he also goes out of his way to rescue them and find them good homes.
Snow Chief was found on Highway 71. I had watched Snow Chief, the famous horse, win the Santa Anita Derby. And driving back, I saw this dog, this forlorn puppy, coming up the middle of the road. So I stopped traffic, jumped out, grabbed little Snow Chief in my arms, and was about to put him in the car when a truck driver came by and missed us by that much. It would have been so long to George and so long to Snow Chief, but we made it home.
George, where did you find Joe Louis and Omar Bradley?
Joe Louis and Omar Bradley, of course, a name for the famous boxer Joe Louis, who had just passed on. Omar Bradley died about the same time, and the two were wandering up and down the street out here, starving. Joe has but one eye. And we found him starving to death under a truck. There's Bradley. named for Omar Bradley, the great general. And what a lovely boy. Well, I brought them in, and that's how we got Joe Louis and Omar Bradley. And that was by sheer coincidence, the same day that our good friend Cleveland Amory sent 26 burros to us that he had rescued in the Grand Canyon. So Omar Bradley, Joe Louis, and 26 burros all came through the gate at once. Pandemonium. Cleveland, God love you, boy. Oh, did they see Marilyn Monroe?
Yes, she was. Well, Marilyn Monroe was in the orchard as a kitten and on June 1st, and it was Marilyn Monroe's birthday, and what was more perfect than a beautiful blonde? 1984 it was. And a
temptress she is. We have named a cat for you, Leo Grillo.
Yes.
A little orange male cat. This little kitten was walking right up the driveway. God only knows how he entered the ranch, because Sal had just rescued 2 mother cats, each with 2 kittens, and we were discussing it. And I'll be doggone if Leo Grillo didn't come up the driveway.
A pound and a half. He looked like a hand running toward you. He's just nothing but a skeleton. Quite.
Enter Leo Grillo.
Or Leo the cat.
Okay, so you've placed your ad and you're getting lots of calls. Don't answer any questions. Just take their names and numbers and tell them you'll call them back in about an hour. Why are you doing this? Because con artists don't like to leave their name and phone number, or their right phone number. You'll never know who you've avoided. Could be a lab dealer, a backyard breeder, fake rescue group. Now's the time to return the phone calls. The trick is, you have to ask questions, and you have to do it immediately. Now, they're going to try to ask you what kind of dog or cat it is. Don't let them get that far ahead of you. We'll go over what questions to ask later. Right now, you have to be clever in how to ask them. Hello, Mr. Douglas? Yes, I'm returning your call about the dog. Uh-huh. Do you have a dog now? Uh-huh. Well, how long ago did you have your... Uh-huh. All right. What happened to Spot? Right. How old was he? 15. Great. Mr. Douglas, can you hang on a second? Right. Thanks. Okay, you got the idea. You have to keep asking the questions, and you have to keep the flow going. You might get to meet Mr. Douglas later. So far, he sounds like a terrific prospect.
But right now, let's go to one of our other shelters, the Delta Ranch. Joining me is Cleveland Amory, founder of the Fund for Animals and author of the bestseller, The Cat Who Came for Christmas. The Fund for Animals is very involved in adopting out animals we don't usually consider pets.
Well, when we first went into the Grand Canyon rescue of the burros, which is probably the thing the Fund for Animals is best known for, burros were not known for being pets in that time at all, and I just told people that they were pets, and that they would actually make a better pet for a kid than a pony, because they're more philosophical, and the temperament is better. And they, knock on wood, we've adopted out, Leo, about 7,000 burros, and we have not had a case of a burro kicking a kid.
The Fund for Animals is also involved in adopting out goats.
Then after we got finished with the burro rescue, we went on to the San Clemente Island where we were up against the Navy that were going to shoot those goats. And we immediately said that wild goats make wonderful pets. So one day I was on this program in L.A. and this woman said, now Cleveland, she said, you just were here a while back and you said that a wild burro makes the best pet. And now you're telling me that wild goats make the best pets. Cleveland, which is it? And I said, it's whichever one we got more of. But you know, the animal God forgot really is the rabbit. He's the prey of everything. We have a rabbit sanctuary in Simpsonville, South Carolina. And I want to tell you that every single case there would drive you crazy. One woman brought back the rabbit because she said that the kids played with it And can you see them all? She had 8 kids, something like that, playing with it on Easter. And finally it just lay down. And she said, I want a rabbit that just keeps playing. I mean, what she really wanted was a mechanical rabbit. Maybe she ought to run after it like the greyhound. But the funny thing is, anything would make a good pet. I'm convinced of it. And I think that the relationship you have with the animal makes the pet, not the animal.
Farm animals make wonderful pets, but don't adopt to someone who's never had that animal before. The animal could be seriously harmed. We're talking about something as simple as feeding. Just changing the kind of hay and amount of hay or grain that you feed a sheep, a goat, or a horse, a burro or a rabbit can kill him.
You know, we have almost 50 cats in here. They live with us. We've got one that looks like your polar bear.
Oh, that's great.
The name is Brett, great big white one.
The name is Brett. What kind of a name is that? Well, I've always said it'd be a terrible world if everything walked on 2 legs.
Now, you know, I'm not telling people to go out and get 50 cats. But what I am saying is if you're worried about that second one, or the third one, or the 5th, or the 10th, or the 15th one, you know, remember they're little people. We have over 50. Why don't you keep them? Come here, Princess.
We're back at Delta's Super Shelter. Before you invite anyone over to see your pet, you have a lot of questions to ask. And if you don't get the right answers, pass, it's not worth it. But don't panic. There'll be lots of other calls. Right now, here are some of the more important questions to ask. Do you have a dog or cat now? Longer than 3 years? What size is your present dog? Bigger or smaller than mine? It can be dangerous to have a big dog with a little one. If your last pet is gone, what happened to him? If they say they gave it to a friend, gave it to the pound, it died of disease or it had no shots, this is not good news. If they say the pet ran away, it was killed in traffic, or it was poisoned, pass on them now.
Ask them if they have a fenced-in yard. If so, is it 6 feet high? Do they have wood or do they have chain link? If they have wood, it deteriorates with age. Chain link or metal lasts forever and the animals can't chew through. Does the bottom of the fence meet the ground? Or does the ground fall away so the dog or cat could dig out? If you got bad or borderline responses to your telephone questions, pass. If your prospect got the right answers, terrific. You found a home for your pet. Almost. Your work still isn't over. You can never be too careful.
But now, let's find out what can happen to animals abandoned, like a dog named Old Yellow.
We took these x-rays of his lower back and pelvis, and we found that Yellow's been shot at least 2 separate occasions. He has multiple shotgun pellets throughout the rear legs and pelvis, all the way down into his abdomen. There are 2 separate injuries here. One is a larger bore pellet. I think we can control this pain. Most of these pellets are sequestered and will not cause any long-term injuries. He was just very lucky not to have been killed.
Yeah, that's a poor guy.
This is Old Yellow today. He still carries over 100 shotgun pellets, but he's happy and thriving, thanks to the care of Dr. Gaylord Brown, who has seen what happens to pets in the wild.
These animals die very quickly in the wild from dehydration, which is not a very pleasant way to die. They develop, they're unable to hold down any fluids, any food, and they suffer as they die. But most definitely the usual outcome is death.
How about the seizures from distemper?
Seizuring and distemper, once it hits the nervous system, they can linger with that disorder for days or weeks before they actually succumb to the disease.
Is it painful?
Very much so. You know, what a lot of people don't realize when they let these animals go, even if they're vaccinated at the time, vaccinations have to be boosted on an annual basis. If these animals are lucky enough to survive for a year in the wild, their protection is then gone.
His protection gone, this former pet will often contract a disease. Then this sick animal will infect both wild animals and family pets in his search for food. But there's more that can happen to a pet that's abandoned.
If you take a dog with a shaggy coat, put into the wild, foxtails can migrate through the feet, get underneath the skin, cause severe abscesses. We have seen even animals receiving good care in home environments where foxtails have migrated into the abdomen against the spinal cord and required major surgery to correct. These animals that are left in the wild to fend for themselves are not going to have the benefit of that type of surgical care. They will suffer, they will eventually die. Fleas, we are continually, treating our domestic animals for fleas. In the wild, fleas run rampant. They carry disease, they cause anemia in animals, they cause a parasite load, tapeworms, they carry tapeworms, and just something as simple as fleas left unchecked can cause untold suffering in these animals that are supposed to be domesticated. A good case in pointly are the beach cats that you've been bringing into my office recently. These cats have all been covered with fleas. Most of the kittens are suffering from flea bite anemia. People think they're doing them a favor by bringing them down there, letting them loose, but in essence they're turning them loose into a disease-ridden environment.
Call your new family's vet. Find out if their other pets get shots and examinations regularly. Ask if their cat was tested recently for FELV and FIV, 2 viruses that can kill your cat. Placing a positive cat with a negative one is a death sentence for both. Now it's time to invite those people whose answers you liked to see your pet. I like Mr. Douglas's answers, so I'm inviting the Douglas family over in a couple of days. Now, why wait 48 hours? Why not do it today? Because I want to be sure they're planning on getting a new pet. What's a few hours when we're talking a 10 or 15-year commitment? Now, if someone doesn't want to wait, pass on him. He's an impulse buyer. He makes department stores rich, but he makes a very insecure home. A few days have passed. The Douglasers are here. I'll tell them this is a final screening procedure. I got a terrific dog for you. According to your lifestyle, I picked out what I think is the best dog we have. Why don't you have a seat here? You're building excitement for your pet's introduction. You say you want to deliver your pet to them if it works out, and you want him back if it doesn't, even in 5 or 10 years. The Douglas family should be anticipating my pet's arrival. This is the big moment. Are they excited? If not, be careful. I'll tell them I'm bringing out my pet to see if they all fall in love. So I'm going to go find Lucky for you. I'll be back in about 5 seconds.
Okay.
If you think your prospects are up to no good, get rid of them. Your pet's life is at stake. And do it now because you'll be up against some very nasty characters later if something goes wrong.
Watch their eyes. It should happen in a flash. Magic.
There she is.
Wow, this is Lucky.
That's great.
Wow, what a pretty dog.
She likes you.
Oh, we love her.
If anyone looks disappointed or clinical, plan your escape.
Pretty dog.
Tell them someone else is coming to look at your pet tomorrow. But let's say we have a perfect match. Go over what your pet eats, his habits, and the treats he likes. But most important, sign a pet adoption agreement. You can make up the agreement yourself. Include items like you are not to sell the animal or give him away for any reason. You are to give him proper and adequate food and fresh water. You are to return him if for any reason you can't keep him or care for him anymore. He's to wear ID tags at all times. I reserve the right to visit him in your home at any time. If you'd like D.E.L.T.A's free detailed adoption agreement, we'll tell you how to contact us at the end of the program. After signing the adoption agreement, tell them you'd like a donation of at least $50. to cover some of the vet bills. If they refuse, get rid of them. The money is to ensure they can afford to care for your pet. This gives you a chance to get an ID. The money is also to take away the profit a wholesaler might make from selling your pet to a broker. If everyone, including your pet, is happy, arrange to deliver your animal in a couple of days. If they're the wrong people, tell them that others are coming to see your pet too. You'll notify the winner soon.
Well, it's back to the telephones to check their references. We have to be sure they work where they say they work. You know, wholesalers, dealers, and others will lie convincingly just to steal and sell your pet. Now, if their references check out, aim to deliver your pet during the daylight hours. We have to be sure that your prospects haven't exaggerated anything about their residence. And deliver them on a Saturday morning. That way your pet gets to spend the whole weekend with his new family.
This is the Douglas's house. But before I go inside, I'm going to check with the neighbor. It's a little embarrassing, but I'll tell the neighbor I thought his was the Douglas's house. What I'm really doing here is finding out if the Douglas family has ever had pets and if they were treated properly.
Howdy.
Then I'll go on to the Douglas's house.
Gosha, how are you?
Hi,
Don, how you doing?
Nice to see you.
Gotta come in, check out the house here.
Great. Glad to see
Got a
you.
little lucky with me.
Good.
She's gonna sleep over here, I take it, huh?
Ask to see the animal's sleeping quarters. Does he have dishes, food, and toys? If they've made no preparations, something is very wrong. Find out why.
Oh, wow. This is your backyard. Look at this. Did you go all the way to the property?
What are the fence and gate like? Are they high enough? Any holes?
Dig out or dig under? No way for her to dig
If
out.
everything looks good, ask again about visitation rights. Anyone on the level insists you visit.
So what do you say we get your phone?
I'll leave the ID tag I made for my pet on her collar when I give her to the Douglases. The Douglases will put their own ID tag on, but mine is on too, with my address and phone number. I'm not taking any chances that she could get lost.
This program was about a better way to find a home for your pet. But there's only one best way. Keep him. I know it's difficult, but before you make your final decision, bear one thing in mind. Someone who loves you very deeply is about to be punished for it. I mean, how many people love you as unselfishly as your pet, whom you're about to betray? No matter how successful you are in finding a good home for him, this will haunt you for years to come. Take control of your life. Keep him. And what about the techniques you learned in finding a good home for an animal? They won't go to waste. Go to your local pound and rescue a dog or a cat who's going to be killed before today is over. Find him a home, a good home. He'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did.
This program is more than a catalog of techniques in finding a safe home for a pet. It is a celebration of our loving, caring relationship with animals and their friendship with us. To receive your free pet adoption booklet, please call toll-free 1-877-43-DELTA. If you want to write to us, our address is Delta Rescue, P.O. Box 9, Glendale, California, 91209. Or visit our website at deltarescue.tv. Thank you for watching the show.